One of our top stories, there was interim relief for Ranveer Allahbadia, the YouTuber who's embroiled in the India's Got Latent Controversy. Now, Ranveer Allahbadia had, of course, approached the Supreme Court over multiple FIRs against him. While the probe and the investigations are to continue, the Supreme Court has, in fact, given interim protection from arrest to Ranveer Allahbadia. But while there was some relief for Ranveer, there was also rebuke after that. The Supreme Court also raised the important issue of online regulation and in fact asked the centre what exactly is being done in order to curb obscenity on online platforms. Now let's take a look at some of the top observations which have come through from the Supreme Court today on this matter. The first one, as I mentioned, this was a question posed to the centre by the Supreme Court on how to curb obscenity on online platforms, especially on YouTube and on social media. Where if you can just read some of the observations which have been done by the Supreme Court, essentially saying that there's a vacuum when it comes to online content regulation. And the Supreme Court also went on to say in the next point that they would be very happy if the centre actually does something about it, in a way calling on for the government to intervene on this matter. Essentially also going on to say that YouTube platforms, YouTube channels are in fact being misused because there is a lot of such content out there and that it is such a sensitive matter that it cannot be overlooked. So the Supreme Court, of course, has gone ahead and asked the government lawyers, the Attorney General as well as the Solicitor General to assist the top court on this matter. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in the next hearing. But coming back to the case of Ranveer Allahbadia. So over there we can see that the Supreme Court actually berated him on the case which is at hand. So if we look at some of the strong observations which have come through from the top court, they go on to say if this is not obscenity, commenting on the controversial remark, then what is? The top court also says that it exposes a perverted mind and there's something very dirty in his mind, and also that it is an insult to parents and whoever is watching. Why should the court protect such an individual? That's a question being posed by the Supreme Court. And also in a message to influencers like Ranveer Allahbadia, the court goes on to say that they cannot take the society for granted. But let's also talk about the relief which has been extended by the Supreme Court to Ranveer Allahbadia. So what does it mean in terms of the case against him? There's interim protection from arrest, which is, of course, comes as a huge relief to Ranveer Allahbadia at the moment. Remember, there are cases going on, investigations going on, both in Mumbai as well as in Guwahati against him over this show. He's also been asked to join the police investigation. Remember, it's been more than a week since this case has come to the public light and the police have filed multiple FIRs, but Ranveer Allahbadia has not joined investigation either with the Mumbai police or with the Assam police. The top court also asked him to submit his passport and to take permission if there is any need for him to travel abroad. And also, lastly, the Supreme Court said that Ranveer Allahbadia will not record any online shows till further orders by the Supreme Court. So these are some of the strong observations, key observations which have come through from the top court hearing today on this big story that we are following here on the channel.